world's happening with King County real estate. Wow. All right, you ready? This is really going to be interesting. Ready? Okay, here we go. All right, so what you see here are the last 10 years. I wanted to get a macro, high-level overview this time of what's happening in the market, because if you get your head down too much, you lose the context. So what's important to keep in mind is whatever we're going to talk about happened last month in November, whatever it means for the future, you need to see this picture. So this is the supply and demand for the last 10 years. Green is the supply, blue is the demand. And you can see for most of the history here, the green has exceeded demand, and it's pretty seasonal. This is up in June, May, June, right? Peaks in the summer, dives in the winter, okay? And demand exceeds it, by a fairly consistent percent until we get right around the pandemic. And then right before the pandemic, everyone's like, I better get out of here. They start selling. And then all of a sudden the pandemic happens and the buyers increase greatly while the sellers decrease a little bit. And I only say a little bit because it's a relative term, because watch what happens when interest rates triple, sellers completely stop selling. All right, everything falls off the table. That's the last 2 years. All right, so this is 2023 when interest rates initially tripled. This is 2024, the time we live in, and it's when interest rates have started to come down a little bit. That's what you're seeing there is what I would call an unwinding of the market, meaning while people stop, if you have a 3% mortgage in your house, you would need some kind of life circumstance to happen to get you to sell and buy a 9% mortgage, an 8% mortgage. You just would. You wouldn't do it otherwise. And that kind of a situation tends to unwind over time because people die or their life circumstances change where they have to move and interest rates slowly come down. So interest rates have come down a little bit. Buyers have not really come back, though. You can really see that the buying demand in 2024 was fairly close to 2023, except at the end of 2024, the buyers are significantly more than they were in the end of 2023. And I'll show you that in a minute. But I want you to show you just how off it is from historical averages. All right, so we're going to talk about minor moves in a micro situation of the last year against the background of what's normal, like a history of normal. This is not it. Okay, we're half the volume of normal markets, anything pre-pandemic. And even during the pandemic, what changed during the pandemic was sellers started to go away. It was last year that sellers completely fell off the table along with buyers. All right. So against that background of that, we're about half of what normal is over the last 2 years. Let's look at this so you can see it. You can see that last month was, in fact, the last few months, see that little uptick in buyers? That never happens historically. And last month, that there were more buyers than listings in King County is completely unique. I mean, that didn't happen any of the other time, maybe during the pandemic a little bit. But certainly not for the last reasonable amount of time did buyers exceed inventory in a November. So what does this mean? Well, it means that we're in very unstable times, okay? If you find anyone who's going to talk to you about what's going to happen in 2025 more than 30 to 60 days out, you should label them a kook. And you might as well think they have, they're pushing a shopping cart down the street, rambling about something. Seriously, if anyone is pretending to know anything about what's going to happen in the next year, in 2025, you should, in your head, you should picture them pushing a shopping cart down the street and raving, because there is no way anyone can honestly tell you what's going to happen in 2025. The new presidency is a wild card. It's meant to be a Molotov cocktail rolled into our current situation to blow everything up. That's the intention. That's what people wanted out of this. And if that's not what they wanted, no, nonetheless, that's potentially what they got. I don't even know that that's what they got, because this could be like the last time he was president, where nothing really particularly changes very much. We just don't know. We just have no idea. None. Politically, socially, economically, none. So take that off your plate. It's just not knowable. Okay. What we do know is, in the short term, if you're looking to sell, you should have an easier time to sell this Christmas time, this holiday season, than any other time. Why? Inventory is down considerably and buyers are up. I don't know what else you need. That's the best possible scenario. And if you're looking to buy, you should know you're going to have less to choose from, less negotiating power. And if you need to buy during this holiday, you're going to need to either move really quickly or come in with a really strong offer. That is exactly how it's going to be. Now, I would not venture to guess what's going to happen in the spring, other than to say there will be likely an increase in inventory consistent with seasonality. That is, more people tend to sell in the spring, and there's no particular evidence that what's normal isn't going to happen. One of the things that you do need to keep in mind is the only things you're going to hear on social media or the news or anything is things that are outrageous. Why? Because nobody gets airtime if what they say is things are going to be the same as they were. No one gets air, although that may be a radical thing to say these days, but no one gets airtime by saying incremental differences are going to happen. The only way anyone gets any airtime is by saying something wild is going to happen on one side or the other. And that's just a fact. There is an inverse proportion between the likelihood of something happening and the likelihood of you hearing about it. That is, the likelihood of you hearing about, if the likelihood of you hearing about it is high, it is unlikely to happen. It's not to say it won't happen, but it's just unlikely to happen. Why? Because things that are unlikely to happen get more airtime. There's no market mechanism in existence, and less today than there ever was, for predictions that don't turn out to be true. There's no mechanism to punish people who make the predictions that don't turn out to be true. And all the incentives are for people to make outrageous predictions. The likelihood of you hearing about something is inversely proportional to the likelihood of it happening. That's, just keep that. I know it's uncomfortable. We do all want to know the future. But Voltaire said, while uncertainty is an uncomfortable position, certainty is an absurd one. Stand there. It is, we just don't know. What we do know is the immediate, there's more buyers than sellers. So if you're looking to sell, let's get it to market. If you're looking to buy, let's get a plan together. That's it. That's what I got for you. Okay. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great holiday season. I'll talk to you at the beginning of January. Have a great one. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Aaron Hendon from Christine Company and eXp Realty. Talk to you soon. Bye. What in the world's happening with Kitsap Real Estate? Oh my God. Are you ready? Let's check it out. All right. So first of all, if you haven't watched the King County update yet, please go watch that. That's got sort of 10,000 foot overview, macro information about the region. The Kitsap update is not radically different than that. All that information that I put out in the King County update is valid for this update. I'll talk about what's different in Kitsap specifically in a minute, but you should get that in the background before you watch this, okay? Because frankly, there's not a ton different. You're looking at the supply and demand graph for the last 2 years. Excuse me. It's really 3 years of data because we're at the end of 2024 now. So it's 2022, 2023, and now here we are in 2024, last 2 years. The green is the supply. Green is the number of houses that came to market, and the blue is the houses that went under contract. And what's interesting here is you can see at the end of the year here, the number of houses that went under contract exceeded the number that came to market for the first time in the year. I mean, this was the only other time it happened was back here in December of last year. So super unusual for that to happen in recent times. It was much more common in the pandemic, but here you go. In December, again, that happened. So in Kitsap, it's not unheard of for it to happen at the end of the year. the other counties, it really is unheard of for it to happen at the end of the year. But overall, the other thing to notice is inventory. While inventory was sort of flat last year, much more up and down the year before, you can see at the end of the year, it really drops off. It doesn't really, we'll see. December is likely to be lower, but the fact that it's already more buyers than available houses, than houses that came to market, is a really interesting phenomenon. It means if you're looking to sell, you're going to have an easier time finding a buyer than you would, say, in the spring when there's a ton of more inventory. Or if you're buying, it means you need a plan because there's not that much to choose from and there's more buyers than there are new houses. So it means getting a plan together or maybe being more flexible, lots of different things that it means on the individual basis. And it's important to know that you only have one house. You are an individual. This sort of metadata is directional versus instructive. It tells you which direction things are going, but it doesn't tell you specifically what to do because your house is in specific condition, in a specific block, at a specific price point. It's unique in a lot of ways. So it needs a lot more analysis than just this sort of, hey, it's a good time to buy or sell. And the conditions in which it's going to buy, you're going to buy or it's going to sell are one where there are more buyers than available inventory, which generally is good for sellers and harder for buyers. And that's what December is likely to bring for any of you out there. So if you're looking to buy, let's get a plan. If you're looking to sell, let's get it to market. That's the forecast. All right. Let me know what I can do for you. If I don't talk to you before New Year's, Happy New Year. And yeah, I'm here to answer any of your questions. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at eXp Realty. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, what in the world's happening with Pierce County real estate? Let's check it out. Ready? It's really interesting. Here we go. Okay. So first of all, if you haven't yet watched the King County update, the King County forecast, go watch that. Why? Because Pierce County is not radically different than King County this month. And there's other information in the King County one that a lot of people go through the entire video, and it's just easier for everybody if you watch that one first. I'll give you the Pierce County breakdown right now, but there's all kinds of background information about the market, the forecast, and what to believe and not believe in the King County update. That's not specific to King County, okay, that you will get value out of if all you're looking for is Pierce County. Why? Because it's pretty much the same as Pierce County at this point. Here's what's different about Pierce County. First of all, this is supply and demand. Green is the supply, blue is the demand. Last 2 years back. So all of 2022, all of 2023, and now given at the end of the year, 2024. So it's really 3 years of data. And you can see something really interesting happening here at the end, right? In November, buyers went up compared to inventory. Well, that never happens. Didn't happen last year. Didn't happen the year before. In fact, if we keep going back, it's really rare. I've never seen buyers exceed inventory in November. That's a really good sign for sellers. That means if you're looking to sell, and before we even get into that, but just notice the strength of the buyers, just not even that it went above available housing. That's almost flat line since the summer. That's not a flat line in 2023. That's not a flat line in 2022. No, so buyers have been steady and strong. And with a decreasing inventory, that means if you're looking to sell, you are going to have an easier time selling than waiting for the spring. The spring is going to bring more competition. It'll bring more buyers, but proportionally, there will be more competition per buyer. So you are better off looking to list now. People buy during the holidays. So if you're looking to list, this is a really good market for you to list in. If you're looking to buy, you need a plan. You might want to wait till the spring. You might want to wait till you might want to look for these properties that didn't sell from over the summer, and maybe those people are getting anxious, but you need a plan, right? Well, you all need a plan, but buyers are going to need a tighter situation than sellers in Pierce County, which is the first time you would think that in a while. And certainly exasperated, I don't know, made worse this last month than any other November I can see. So what's on tap for the future? Well, no one really knows the entire future. Watch the King County update for the details on that. But for the immediate future, if you're listing, let's get it to market. Let's lean into this. If you're looking to buy, let's make sure that we got the right plan for you. Okay? Let me know what I can do for you. I'm here to help. Aaron Hendon with Christine Company over at eXp Realty. Talk to you next month. Bye. Oh, if I don't see you again, Happy New Year. Have a great, great, great New Year. Hey, what in the world's happening with Snohomish County real estate? Oh, it's intense. You ready? Let's check this out. Okay, here we go. So this is the last 2 years. It's actually 3 years of data, given we're in December. But for a deeper background, go watch the King County update. If you've already seen that, then you have all the background. This is not that much different than King County. I'll talk about what's different about it. But rather than get into all that background on every video, check out the macro version of what's happening in our area, which is in the King County update. Okay. What's distinct here really is not terribly much. This is very much like the King County update. That is, there were more buyers in November than there were sellers. You're looking at the supply and demand. Green is the supply, blue is the demand. Green is the number of new listings that came to market. Blue is the number of houses that went under contract. So very high, very much higher demand than there was supply. Okay, so it's good for prices, good for days on market. That'll continue to ripple out into the market. Overall, ending the year this way is really interesting. We never end the year this way. We never end the year with more buyers. And it's just, you go back any time frame you want. It's super rare to see buyers go up over inventory. And really, it's not up over last month, but that's a very flat lines from really May. That's pretty close. It's very little compared to what's normal. You got May up here and then all the way down here, right? That's November normally. That's November. Pretty straight line down most years. This is a very flat line relative to that, meaning the buying demand is fairly steady. So what does that mean to you? If you're going to sell your house, this is a really good time to consider doing it. It's counterintuitive. Most people think I'll sell in the spring, but if you sell in the spring, you're going to be selling into an increased inventory situation, increased supply situation. And if you look at previous months, I don't know what it's a little disco. If you look at previous months, you can see there's significantly more inventory than buyers. There are more buyers, but there's way more inventory, way more for them to choose from. That's not good for pricing. It's not good for days on market for you, the seller. I would consider, if you could, selling it December or January and taking advantage of this unusual situation. If you're one of those buyers in there, you need a plan. You need to either be really fast, you need to be able to negotiate, or you need to be able to pay full price for something that's been on the market for 7 to 14 days and not blink an eye about it because someone's going to snatch it up. That's what this data says. Now, every neighborhood is different. Every market's different. Every house is different. You need a plan. So if you got questions, you want to know anything more about that, that is what I do. That's what I'm here for. I won't talk to you again until next year unless you call me, which I would love to talk to you before next year. But if I don't, Happy New Year. Have a great time. In the meantime, if you're listing, let's get it to market. If you're buying, let's get a plan. Aaron Hendon with Christine Company over at eXp Realty. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, what in the world is happening with Vashon Real Estate? Well, let's check it out. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the deal with Vashon. All right, I will never get over how weird Vashon is. It's always pretty much the opposite of what's happening anywhere else. In the areas around the counties, the county level research that I've done around Vashon doesn't look like this. There's more buyers than sellers, right? This what you're looking at is the last 3 years of supply and demand. Green is supply, number of houses that come to market. Blue is demand, number of homes that went under contract. Um, and in the surrounding counties, in King County in general, there were more houses that went under contract that came to market, but not so on Vashon. And, this is, you know, just weird. I mean, Vashon's weird. I love it. That's why I live here, because it's weird. Um, but and in November, there's significantly less than there were last November. This is going to be last November. Yeah, there's about half the number of listings that came to market, half the number of buyers than last year, right? This is like December, right? This is December of 2022. Again, more in 2022 than there were this year. I would suspect that we're going to see even less this December, right? So if you're looking to sell on Vashon, it's a little bit of a crapshoot because the buyers tend to go away. That would be this trend. And if you're looking to buy, there's just a ton of available inventory. You should be able to negotiate a decent price on Vashon, given the number of houses that are available over here. Now, look, every house is different. Every neighborhood is different. Everything is unique, especially on Vashon. So while this information is directional, it's not necessarily instructive, meaning the environment in which you're buying or selling is one where there's more inventory than there are buyers. But you may have a unique situation, a unique house. There's way less of those kinds of houses or whatever. Your situation is undoubtedly unique. So you need to know what the environment is so that you know how to plan for your unique situation. And that's what I'm here for. The other word of advice that I would give is go watch the King County update. Although the specifics to the market are different here, there's important macro information that is useful for Vashon buying and selling. It's the overall context in which the economy lives in is discussed on the King County update. That'll take you 5 minutes to watch that. And give you a better grounding in what's to be expected here. But for now, if you're not going to do that, for now, I would say if you're listing it, I would make sure that you were priced strategically. And if you were buying, I'd get out there and look at everything that was already out there, because there's a ton of leftover inventory from the year. There just hasn't been the buyer demand to suck it up yet. So you should be able to find something that works for you that hasn't been the case for the last few years. So if you got questions or anything you need, let me know. That's what I'm here for. If I don't talk to you before New Year's, Happy New Year to you and your family. And I look forward to working with you in 2025. Let me know what I can do for you. Aaron Hendon with Christine & Company over at eXp Realty. Talk to you later.